if we could, I'd ask if you feel physically able to. This my microphone's useless.
Yes.
No,
Turn it off.
Speak
no,
up.
use it. It works.
It's intermittent. It's off and
That's
on.
better than nothing.
All right.
It's
Is this which right here? Is this good? Right there. Don't move the mic, Wilson. All right. Well, see, even without moving the mic, it goes intermittent. So, you know, I can't win, and I paid my fees. Anyway, while we're getting ready to serve, if I could ask everybody to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. If you can, if you do not feel that you're physically able to stand, just put your hand over your heart. One thing I have to say is it's one nation under God. It's all one phrase. There's no comma in there. All right? If you would join with me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Have a seat. Okay. Many of you have no idea who I am, but you're already getting to know me. But I want you to know who our board members are. So you don't need to stand, but you need to raise your hand so people know who you are. Our first vice president is Margie Bingham. She's back here in the back over there. Our beautiful Margie. Second vice president, who is our representative with UVU, is Karen. And I don't know where she is. She's right over there. This one better? We'll try this one. Oh, this one's even better. Maybe the battery didn't like me. Oh, see, this one cuts out too. I can't win for love or money. All right, our immediate past president, who says that she's not going to be doing anything, but oh, she doesn't know me very well, does she? Cheryl Johnson, right there. Our secretary, Janet Harmon. I know Janet's over there. That's the lady that you need to go see when you need your name tag. If you've just paid today, you're not going to get a name tag for a little while. So hang in there. We'll have them available at the classes and we'll mail them to you. Our treasurer, membership, registration, all those fun things that deal with money is Nancy Jeffries. Nancy's, I know she's here. Where's there? There she is. Wave, Nancy. There we go. The man that keeps us online, that keeps us to make sure that we know what we're doing, our parliamentarian, if you want to know what that means, you have to talk to Dave Johnson. There he is over there. Curriculum, education, the lady that is responsible for all of our wonderful instructors now and in the future is Gwen. All right. Monthly events. John Debeker. He's going to be the one that gives us our luncheon speakers and all our special events. That's what we got right there. Our communications, our newsletter. For those of you that got a newsletter, we got extras. Eden Harvey. Day trips. We're planning on trying to have a day trip once a month. And I'll tell a little bit about our upcoming day trip. And we have a day trip coming up. Fran Reiser. Fran, you're here, I know. Right over there. Our historian, Sharon Bird. Sharon's around. There you are. I guess, Sharon, raise your hand. You can't just sit there and hide. Sharon, raise your hand so we know who you are. There we go. Our scholarship lady that keeps us on track, because this is all about scholarships, is Joan Hahn. Joan's right back there. And the man that keeps all of us going, keeps the technology going so that we know what we got going and what's happening is Gerhard Roof, and he's over here doing his thing. Okay, as you enjoy your meal, here goes your regular announcements. We have a day trip coming up this Friday. We are going to the Spanish Fork Museum, Springville Museum of Art for the quilt show. Now, it's $10. You're going to meet in the parking lot that is on Center Street in Orem, across the street from Trio. So that's where we're going to meet at 10 o'clock on Friday. If you want to drive down there yourself, you can drive down to Springville yourself and meet us there. The $10 is going to go towards a little bit of money for our bus driver. And what's the rest of the money going to go towards? Like, a little louder, please. It's going towards scholarships. So if you have extra money, that's what it's going towards. We also have a Branson trip. This week, we're going to try another for microphone.
I don't know.
They don't like me. How's this one? Wayne, good to have you here, dude.
It's the system. It's not the mic.
Okay. It's the system? All right, we're just gonna yell. All right, you can hear me anyway without the mic. Wade, come on up here. You found us. Good to have you here, dude. Any place you can find a seat. Is this one open? Wade, you got the front, okay, back table, front table, whatever.
Can they hear you without the mic? Because I think it's almost worse.
Okay, turn the mic off. Am I loud enough like this, people? That's what I thought. You got a loud mouth for a president. Okay. Day trip, I already talked about that. Please meet up on this Friday at 10 o'clock. You'll still be able to make our Friday flick, which is cheaper by the dozen at the Orem Library. So I want to encourage you to do that. Last day, Friday, is the last time that you can sign up for the Branson tour. If you want information about that, there's a handout in the back. We've got a lot of people that want to go to Branson, but Friday is the drop dead day to be able to sign up for Branson. So please enjoy all that and have fun. Okay, Claire, you got 2 minutes and you don't have a microphone, so you're gonna have to really yell, girl.
I can yell. I can talk to the deaf man in the back row because I've had drama training. It's wonderful to be here with all of you. You dear, wonderful, not empty nesters, you are elder questers. The very best thing that came out of COVID was Zoom. I have a husband who's barely walking now. Please understand that he and I attended all 11 classes last semester on Zoom. And we're thrilled to continue the Zooming. So please know that I am in attendance, even if I'm not physically there. I have the privilege of being the very first potpourri presenter next Wednesday at 11:30. And I want you to know that on Monday, Ernest has already helped to lead into my topic. He talked about facing death without fear. And just an hour ago, Alex Ledlow was talking about cars that crash and people who die. My topic for next Wednesday at 11:30, demise desires. Your loved ones need to know what it is that you desire to have done when you pass away. This does not have anything to do with estate planning or anything else, because I've had great experience with all of this. Come, you will be amazed at what you've never thought to think about, the details that need to be considered, decisions that need to be made before there's any emotion involved. And I'll tell you how to save considerable money so that you can get out of this life. The average funeral today is $12,000. Unless you have unlimited funds, you better come and hear my presentation. 11:30 next Wednesday, right after Alex Ledlow. And next, you want to be sure to come to his because we're going to be a jury for one of the trials. 11:30 next Wednesday, demise desires. Thank you. And it will be on Zoom.
Yes, it will.
Yes.
We are Zooming everything. All of our classes will be on Zoom. Okay. Oh, well,
So we have teachers here.
you gotta have teachers, you have to say something real quick. Okay. We're flexible. How many of you know what Semper Gumby stands for? Semper Gumby, Ernest. What does that stand for? Okay, Semper Gumby, what does that mean? Ever flexible. That's what we're going to be today because we can't get the screens to go. So we have videos that we've already shown. So guess what, instructors? You're going to get 2 minutes to talk. I'm sorry, that's what you got. That's what it's going to have to be. So we move things along. Okay, last thing I've got, hopefully you enjoyed your lunch. I've got a chef right there. Chef, don't you walk off. Come back here. Stand right there in the middle. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the man of the hour. He is the responsible man to keep us going. Thank you so much for awesome Beans and Frank's lunch.
Sorry about the screens and the microphones. They tore the ceiling out, put a new ceiling in. They must have improved. Get that figured out.
Appreciate it. Enjoy your meal. In a few minutes, we'll have our instructors come and talk. Ladies and gentlemen, if I could have your attention, please. We have the fine young lady of Gwen that's going to introduce our speakers. Each one of our instructors get a chance to speak about their classes because we do not have a video. So they're going to have to speak for 2 minutes max of what they're going to talk about, what their class is all about. And I know, Judith, I'm sorry if you don't speak. Gwen's going to talk about your class.
Nobody can hear me anyway.
I can hear you very well. We got the microphone fixed. All right. So, Gwen, if you would, please.
I hope you know I know how to
You gotta be back
project.
here.
Go behind so the people at home.
Your
Too
smiley
far
face.
away.
You're right there. You're good.
Okay, thanks to all of our wonderful teachers. Why? Do you know how many hours they put into preparing for these classes? And they do it for love of you. Honestly, they love teaching, they love the subject. They're all so talented and experienced and knowledgeable. Can you hear me in the back? This is how we learn to surf. We can surf out in the ocean and talk to people on the beach. All right, I'm from Hawaii. What I want to make sure you realize is that every one of our fabulous instructors is volunteer. And all they get is a luncheon and a pat on the back. So I want you to tell them today, after they've had their 2 minutes of talking about their class, I want you to tell them you love them. Send a little aloha their way, okay? Because they really do deserve it. On Monday in the morning at 10 o'clock, we've got Judith and Leonard Turney talking about Alfred Hitchcock. And it is phenomenal. So when Alfred and Judith, would you please stand up? I don't even know where you are. I've got to find you. Okay. Tell us about how critical it is to know the dynamics before you see the movie clip. Sorry. If you listen to Judith and
It's
Leonard
stage projection.
about
It's like
the
stage
details, when you see the movie clip, it's fascinating. For instance, Judith told us about the Iron Curtain. I had no idea what that thing was. And at the very end of the movie clip, the Iron Curtain comes down and cuts the guy in half. And if you didn't know it, you wouldn't get anywhere near the drama. So you gotta listen to Judith every
Did you
word.
shush and let her talk? It's Judith, not you.
Hello! That's a wonderful vocal exercise. You throw your whole body into it, say hello. And you're supposed to
Hello.
say, or aloha. Anyway, Leonard and I, Leonard is not here today. He's tending little puppies we just got. And so he's very sorry that he's missing the luncheon and all of you.
She's doing the
And
best
all
she
of you
can.
wonderful people.
Oh, we got the camera right here.
Oh,
That's why you got to be right there. Here, hang on.
technology. Cameras.
That's right.
My-
Action.
Right, okay. Anyway, Leonard and I are retired professors from the University of California, Santa Barbara. And Leonard has taught at BYU. And so we have the itch to to find out things that we never knew before. So we're going along with you guys and saying, okay, what next? What do we teach next? We had a wonderful person in our class, that lady right there, who told us that we should do Alfred Hitchcock. And I thought, wow, that's a really great idea. So last semester, we did our class starting from 1922 up until 1949. And what was amazing was that Alfred Hitchcock had begun his career when he was 20 years old in England and made all these wonderful expressionistic films that we studied last semester. And now we're in his middle period, which is probably his best films ever that he ever made. Things like North by Northwest and Vertigo and Rear Window, no birds, no birds.
And no Psycho.
No Psycho, no birds. That's another period of time. But anyway, so North by Northwest, yeah.
Awesome.
And what did we do yesterday, before yesterday? What did we talk about?
Stage fright.
Okay,
Oh
and the
my
next
goodness.
is going to be
That was so cool.
Strangers on a Train.
Strangers on the Train.
So we're doing 8 of those films and hopefully we can get through them all in one semester. But it's a wonderful opportunity to even enjoy the fact that we are living this period of time. We remember back, maybe not in 1920, but maybe in the 50s, we remember when these films came out and they're part of our cinematic history and they're part of our personal history. So we're trying to coordinate that and not just be cinematic nuts. But anyway, we hope that you'll come and join us. We're having a wonderful class time, except for the fact that we have no microphone. And I know I have a soft voice. I know that. Don't tell me that. Okay? Anyway, so I think we'll have a really wonderful time this semester. Thanks a lot.
You did it, girl.
You really don't want to miss these. These are fabulous classes. All right, then, where's Bruce Young? Is Bruce Young here?
Yeah, he's
Oh,
here.
good, and he can project. You got to hear about this because the Congo is what he's talking about, and it is dramatic.
I learned to project by teaching English at BYU for 38 years. So I think I can fill a room. Can you hear me? All right.
Nope,
No?
You gotta be louder.
I've got to yell?
Yep, you gotta be louder.
Okay. The title of the class is Congo Adventures, Encountering Cultural and Religious Variety in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And primarily I'll be talking about the six months that my wife and I just spent there as missionaries. Just got back a little over a month ago. My wife is Margaret Blair Young. Do you want to wave, everybody? Okay. However, that was not our first time there. It was, I think, the 8th time for my wife and the 3rd time for me that we've been in the Congo. But we had an exceptionally rich experience for the last 6 months, so we want to share that. It's not just going to be about what we did as missionaries. Well, let me put it this way. What we did as missionaries included lots of things that you would not necessarily expect. We worked with Catholic priests, with people, with Protestant friends, and with other people we have no idea what their beliefs are. And we did all sorts of things, including teaching English, working with albino individuals who face really hard challenges there. We helped with a film festival in the capital of the country. We shot a short film of our own while we were there, and you'll get to see that as part of the class. We already had the class yesterday, 2 days ago, I guess, right? Monday. And I began by introducing the history and geography of the country, of the Congo. And one of the main aims that I have in the class is to try to persuade you that the Congo, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, is a beautiful, wonderful place with wonderful people. Most of many of the preconceptions and stereotypes that you have are not accurate. And so a big part of my task will be to help you understand and experience the Congo as it really is. I brought some notes and I'll just read the last part. But besides learning about our experiences, you will learn about one of the most beautiful countries in the world, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and its wonderful people. You will also learn something about their history, their challenges, and their magnificent possibilities. So I hope you'll join us.
Thank you.
And we're not even done with Monday yet. Judy and Ernest Istuk, they can project. And they are phenomenal teachers about fabulous books.
Judy and I are presenting worthwhile readings. Now, you might think that this is going to be about Shakespeare or Tolstoy or Marcus Aurelius or Jane Austen or something, but we've picked some things that we think are fun. And you might say that the particular works we have in these worthwhile readings could be characterized as the good, the bad, and the loony. Judy's going to tell you about the good.
That's terrible.
I'm a little bit inspirational and light this semester. It wasn't planned this way, and he is dark and dreary. Our choices are totally opposite. I have selected things that will inspire, that have that pertain to, most of us are in our winter of our life, that will make you stop and think.
Late summer.
That will make you stop and think and evaluate your own life and maybe go away with some inspiration on how better to live it and to become better. And Ernest,
I'm going to be talking about 3 works, and you might enjoy reading them. One is about bad blood. The story of perhaps America's greatest female con artist, Elizabeth Holmes, who was convicted in this last year of the Theranos scam, trying to mess with people's health, and another book called It's Insanity. Now, if you want to know about a con man, you need to read a book written by a con man telling the story of a bigger con man whom he met in prison. And that's the book, It's Insanity, a bipolar megalomaniac billionaire who thinks he can use his company to foment revolutions and take over the world.
I told you it was dark.
True story. So those are the bad, but the loony. The Loony is a wonderful science fiction book by Robert Heinlein. The moon is a harsh mistress. If you have made a lunar colony, but you're still chafing under the control of Earth, how do you win a revolution against the Earth? You throw rocks. You got to read the book. We'll talk about it.
Thank you.
Can you see? You really don't want to miss that, honestly. Okay, then we go to Tuesday, and Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock, where are the Griffiths?
Right here.
Oh, come on up. This is amazing. China and Russia. Oh my gosh, you learn so much.
I had always suspected that I should have spent more time in Hawaii learning how to surf, and now I know why. You just heard about people imagining taking over the world. We're going to talk about the ones who really are planning to take over the world. Actually, I have a very soft spot in my heart for China, and I think it is really important that we understand things better. I'm not saying it's a very pretty picture right now, but we all, many of our children have studied Chinese and Chinese immersion programs. Many have traveled to China, and those of us who have interacted with Chinese people inevitably have had very positive experiences. So just as we read the headlines and all that's going on in the world today, I think having an understanding of what China is really all about is really beneficial to us. And they are about a quarter of Heavenly Father's children anyway, so that is worth knowing and understanding. Anyway, so hope to see you on Tuesday mornings.
Hi, I'm Jeannie Griffiths, his other half, and I'm delighted to be back to Elder Quest. This is our 6th year teaching here. This is 6 in Chinese. One of the nice things about this is that I can teach whatever I want. And so, so when I decided I don't know much about Russia, and I started 3 years ago, and it was such an overwhelming, huge subject, I had to put it away. The next year I brought it out, worked on it again. It was such a huge, overwhelming project, I had to put it away. And then this year, when Russia invaded Ukraine, I said, this is the year it has to happen. So to be quite honest, I have no qualifications whatsoever for teaching this class. As we left yesterday, I said, what am I doing teaching this? I've never had a poli-sci class in my life. You know, but the thing that my great strength is I'm willing to work. I've put a lot of work into this class. I've learned I will never do a difficult subject like this again. There are easier places to teach on, and this was a hard subject to do. So I hope I can survive the semester and that you will enjoy it. Thanks.
By the way, they are qualified. No matter what they say, they're very qualified and they're excellent communicators. And by the way, if you do go to Hawaii and you do surf, you better learn how to get to the people on the beach if there's a shark nearby. Then after the 10 and 11 o'clock classes on China and Russia, we are so lucky after lunch to come back at 1 o'clock to hear about Mark Twain, and Neil Lambert is the teacher.
Mark Twain is known to everybody. Everybody is an expert on Mark Twain. So if you'd like to come and share your expertise, I'd be happy to have you there. Now, Mark, I've always loved, as we all have, Mark Twain as an American. He is probably the best known and best recognized writer in all American literature. And so what makes him that way? Was it just the fact that he published, or just the fact that he wrote? He had a passion for writing thousands of words every day through a significant part of his life. He wrote in bed. He wrote, and he wrote by his pool table. He had a special gazebo that his sister-in-law built for him, where he wrote his best books. And all of this comes, he was writing in some ways like we pray and study. He wanted more than anything else. He had to leave home early in his life to help. His father died early. He had to go to work, and he went to work in a newspaper setting type in the olden days. For decades of his life, he set that type and worked with words with his hands, and that metamorphosed into contributions. He had a vivid imagination, and for 10 years he was a typesetter, and then a correspondent, and then the words just kept pouring out and pouring out. But he used that word to explore some of the most fundamental things that he longed for in his life. The most important thing in his life was family. He wanted a family. His father died when he was 9 years old. His mother lived in poverty. The family never had much, but he wanted a family and sought for that all his life. And his and a culture in which that family could grow. I think of what Huck said to Jim when Huck escaped finally from that terrible feud. And he and Jim finally are back on the raft on the river. And Huck, after Jim has fixed their supper and they're sitting there on the raft, just those two men looking out for each other. And Huck says, "There ain't no home like a raft." Well, yes, we laugh at that. It wasn't, but there's something deeper. What is it that makes a home? Why do we laugh at some things? Mark Twain was far more than a comedian. He made people laugh. He made more money making people laugh as a lecturer than he did as an author with his books. He could make people laugh. He knew how. But that didn't satisfy that deep longing that he had for love, for family, for home. And most of his books have that, perhaps not obvious in the text, but as the underlying motivation for what he desired. And his whole life was one series of tragedies after another when those hopes were dashed by circumstances over which he had no control. But it wasn't just his life that was interesting, because most of what he wrote comes out of the culture of America. He said, or he didn't say, we don't really know, there's no place where it's recorded, but he had in his notes in the Mark Twain papers, he wrote, "I am not an American. I am the American." He knew he was one of the most famous men in America. And yet it was America's issues that he was dealing with in his books. And we're going through this semester, next semester, to touch on almost every one of Mark Twain's major books, from his first ones to his very last ones, with Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer in the middle. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Will. There you go, Sue.
It was so dang interesting. I went home and I looked up on Google all the words that Mark Twain or Samuel Clemens coined. Slim Jim is one. Bicentennial is another. A lot of words were coined by Samuel Clemens.
If you want to visit the Mark Twain birthplace, a little town called Florida, Missouri, up on the bluffs above Hannibal, it's whole, there's walls full of words that are common for us in the language that comes from Mark Twain. He is the source.
He's not here. Go, Fred.
There's a day trip for us.
Late last. Shakespeare. Late last.
Okay.
So you'll have to talk.
You have a Stargate to travel that far?
Now, we do have some teachers who were not able to make it today. At 2:30 in the afternoon on Tuesday, we have Nancy Allen teaching about Will Rogers. I don't know how his parents ever made it. He was the most rebellious, horrible kid that ever lived. Oh my goodness, he
He's got a
dropped out
video.
of everything, flunked everything, and look what happened to him. He was successful by being a dropout.
And we have a video.
We do have a video? It works?
He's gonna try. We're gonna try to have a video.
Pray, cross your fingers.
Is
Nancy Allen.
Nancy is here?
No, she's not.
Okay, yeah, let's try.
The video might work.
Oh. We're close. Gotta love technology.
I watched all those, these are the ones that you put on
On
YouTube,
Facebook,
right?
on Facebook, yeah.
So just tell us.
Yeah.
No.
If you want to see some interesting videos, go to Elder West Utah County Facebook page. There's some real interesting videos. Wait, Musgraves, what's the interesting stuff? It's not playing. All right. Not gonna work. You want me to do it? You do it.
I can do it.
Do it. Talk quickly. Short.
You know me,
Is Nancy here? Oh, you're way over there.
Oh, she's here.
This is one of those things I don't see yet.
Okay, I don't know which is more painful, this experience or watching myself. Okay, can you hear me? Oh, I need to yell louder.
You do, you have to yell.
Okay.
You do.
All right, you've heard from the professionals, this is the unprofessional, but I love Will Rogers. My father loved him. I think it's genetic. I inherited the love for Will Rogers. But he is a remarkable man. He accomplished so much in his life in spite of having been kicked out of school 7 times. Yes, he was a problem child, but he was a remarkable man. Brilliant. He became a spokesman for the American people. He was kind, considerate, generous. He was if Mark Twain said he was the American, I say Will Rogers was also the American. He was a Cherokee cowboy mix from Oklahoma, remarkable, bright, reading at 2. He could memorize really well, but he hated school. He did not like the confinement of school. So he did everything he could to get out because he loved to rope. I think his mother, when he was a little child, said, go get somebody to teach you how to rope, because that occupied his hands and kept him out of trouble. And so he began his career as a roper and an entertainer. I did rodeo things, what we call rodeo nowadays. And then he moved into Broadway eventually, had an interesting career there. Then Hollywood called him. He did some films. He became the after dinner speaker, very successful, sought after. He then was, he pioneered air flying. He loved Lindbergh. He had a lot of pilot friends, and he would ask them to fly him to his different assignments because it was quicker. He wanted to be there as soon as he could. He had a lot to say about American politics, and in the class you'll learn which party he belongs to, and he ridicules people of both sides, but kindly and lovingly. His goal was to actually improve this nation, and so the criticism he gives is done without intent to harm, but to motivate to good actions. So it's fun to hear his response to what went on in the political parties. Then he traveled widely throughout the world, kind of was an unofficial representative of our nation. He, Saturday Evening Post would commission him to go to foreign countries and pay his way. And then he was to write articles. He wrote series of articles for Saturday Evening Post. He wrote for the New York Times weekly columns. He had syndicated columns in newspapers all over the United States. So in spite of the fact that his grammar and spelling and punctuation and capitalization were not standard, they were standard Will, and he said good things. He spoke the truth. He was a good man. And so we'll talk about the things that he said, mostly from his words. First class wasn't that way. Most of them are going to be from his words, and get his views on death. And then at the end, it will be the timeless truths, things he said back in his time, which still resonate, which are still true. That's it.
Thank you.
By the way, our mics and our videos work in the classroom. Thank you, Gerhard.
Yeah, Judith, it will work.
Then in the On Wednesday, the very next day, we've got case law, and Alex Ludlow, I believe, is not here today. Is that right?
Got another obligation.
He has another obligation. So what I need to tell you about Alex is he is phenomenally well-versed in law. And what he did that was so exciting last semester was he would give us the lowdown on a phenomenal real case. And then we'd get to be the jury.
Okay, with that in mind, how many of you remember Lizzie Borden?
Yes.
That's the case that we're going to talk about.
Oh.
Was she convicted? Was she should have been convicted or should she not have? We're going to be the jury. That's one of the cases that we're going to talk about. The case of Lizzie Borden.
Wow. You don't want to miss it. Now that's all on Wednesday because in the afternoons, that's when we have our potpourri talks on Wednesdays. Then Thursday morning at 10 o'clock to 11:30, we've got Brad Daw, who also was not able to make it today. He is talking about the world we live in today, the world and I. And by the way, the next time somebody makes fun of us because we're seniors and we hate technology, you just tell them about today. There's a dang good reason why. And so Brad Daw will get us caught up with world events, with politics, with local events. Something that many of us need because some of us are getting so jaded we don't turn on the news. Anybody in that category? You get so sick of the news. And it's getting so now you can't say anything. We have to watch every word. So he's going to get us caught up with what we can and cannot do. And then at 1 o'clock after lunch, we've got Wayne Musgrave, and he's not here today.
No, he's right there, but we're going to go Shakespeare, then we're going to end with.
Oh, okay. We're going to end with you, Wayne. He'll be talking about not only music, all kinds of things. He's a very, very multi-talented, multi-experienced speaker and teacher. And then in the afternoon on Thursday, we got Dave Johnson, and you're here. Do you want to come up and project? Or stand there and project? Might as well. I don't know.
Here, I'm not seeing.
Oh, that's right. I forget about technology. Sorry, people on Zoom.
Aloha. Aloha. You're still awake. That's good to know. I'm happy to report that in Shakespeare's theater there was no iron curtain, which in America we call a fire curtain, and it does the same thing. It walls the actors on stage so that they don't get out of the fire, because actors are always replaceable. An audience is not replaceable. And in Shakespeare's day, if there was a fire in the theater, which happened, the audience had to make its own way out. So what we do in my class is we read ahead for the plays that will be done at the festival next summer. And the 3 Shakespeare plays they're going to be doing are Timon of Athens, Coriolanus, and A Midsummer Night's Dream. Now, I love A Midsummer Night's Dream. It's the hallmark of good comedy as far as I'm concerned. Timon of Athens has only been done once in the 61-year history of the festival. And I just finished reading it yesterday, and I can understand why it's only been done once. It does have the distinction of being a show that Shakespeare never saw performed. In fact, there's a good question of whether or not he even finished it. And we'll be taking a look at those kind of things. Coriolanus is another one that we kind of looked at and raised our eyebrow. We're kind of in these 2 shows looking at Greek and Roman drama through Shakespeare's eyes. And Shakespeare was not always real careful about geography or real history. And we kind of laugh about that now, but we have to understand the kind of place that he lived in. He was well educated in both Greek and Latin. And so that's what educated people were then. They could speak both Latin and Greek. And he could do that because of his schooling.
we don't know that much about it anymore. And so we kind of tend to laugh about things that we don't know anything about, which is a good old American tradition. I think Mark Twain would also agree with that. So anyway, you don't have to be a Shakespearean scholar to enjoy the class. A lot of people say, well, I can't read Shakespeare because the words are so hard. Well, yeah, they are a little different than what we use because he was writing what people were speaking 400 years ago. And people say, well, I don't speak Old English. It isn't Old English. In fact, Old English is easier than what Shakespeare was writing because he was writing Middle English. And Middle English had the real influence of French. And for those of you who are good with French, I take my hat off to you because to me, French does not make sense. And I don't even try to speak it except a few phrases. So anyway, you don't have to be engaged. You don't have to be learned to enjoy the class. I do ask that you be engaged. I would like to invite you to come and to read along. We do it in a reader's theater style. And we don't make fun of you if you mispronounce words. We don't even correct you unless you want us to do that. In fact, I don't know all the right ways of things. So we can learn together. But Shakespeare was meant to be read aloud. It was not meant to be studied in a school classroom where the teacher says, read Act 1, Scene 1, and come back tomorrow and we'll talk about it. We do talk about it as we go along, and hopefully we can make some discoveries. Anyway, enjoy. I have kept the same title because I think we can always enjoy Shakespeare. And if you can't enjoy Shakespeare, I'm sorry. You can come and check it out.
That's life.
Gwen just asked me to talk about Cedar City. We usually take a tour down to the Shakespeare Festival in Cedar City. We had a marvelous time this year. My two favorite shows were Sound of Music, and Clue. They were my two favorites. I did go to the Tempest because I felt like I needed to do some duty to Shakespeare. Tempest was very interesting. I can be happy to talk about it if you want to hear more about it. I did not go to Sweeney Todd, which many of our people felt like was their favorite play. But I chose not to go to Sweeney Todd just because I love the music, but I don't like the action.
Thank you. And now we have a brand new instructor whose name is Wayne Musgrave. I'll let him tell you all about it, and I know he can project. But if he feels so inclined, after we finish with these little intros, he might just sit down at the grand piano and let you have it, because he can do a medley of our music in the 40s, 50s, and 60s like nothing you've ever heard before. So maybe we could talk him into it. But let me introduce Wayne Musgrave. Come on up.
Can you hear me?
Oh, wait, don't do that to me.
It's good to be here this afternoon. If anybody can't hear, just raise your hand. And I will walk over to you and tell you what I'm saying. I'm really happy to be able to have this opportunity. When David asked me to do this, I got to be honest with you. I've played a lot of rooms in my career. And one day I sat down at the piano at the rec center. Well, they were having lunch. And that was undoubtedly the hardest group I have ever played for. People started putting their phones on and listening to other music while I was playing. And I told David, I said, there's no way I'm doing this, man. That is the hardest group I have ever taught. And I taught at BYU, I've taught CES programs, I've been with youth programs, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Spent my life using my gifts and my talents to try to enlighten others. We're going to be talking about reflexology, musicology, neuropathy, behavioral medicine, self-defense for seniors because our bodies have changed to the point where we can no longer do jump, spinning, flying, suppressive kicks anymore. We have to use what strengths we do have. We're going to go into a lot of different areas. I would say when you come to my class, make sure you're wearing your sweats and you've washed your feet, because we are going to talk about how to restore feeling to your feet. A year ago, I was in my deathbed. I went from a cane to crutches, to a walker, to a wheelchair, to my bed to die. I chose not to. Last year, I pulled myself out of the cog of industrial medicine and came out of a 7-year coma. Now, kind of enlightened, I'm really kind of a different guy. My kids don't even like me anymore. They said, Dad, we don't even know you anymore. I mean, we know how to be the children of a sick dad, but we don't know how to be the children of a well father. Their loss. Let me play you a quick tune. I usually, you know,
Okay, I want to just, we got Wade because he was playing between classes last year. And I said, I want this man to teach a class. You notice how he's got a wide variety. It's not just simple little music. It's a wide variety of interests. And Wade is a multi-talented musician. And I'm gonna let him just go over there to the piano. And would you play for us whatever you want?
okay. I usually like to play to the room, and I've been here long enough to know that I'm not gonna rock out, okay? But I would like to leave you
With our
an offering.
As we end, that's what we've got the end. Thank you for coming. If you want to talk to one of the instructors, please do so. But now we'll let Wade Musgrave be our concluding musician for what we've got going. Appreciate all that you do. Thank you so much. It is pouring rain out there. Be careful, be safe, be sane. God bless. Take care.
Thank you, Dave.
It's almost in tune.
Almost.